What are you passionate about? Like super passionate about? Where do you find purpose in your life? What you're about to encounter in this episode is some gentlemen sharing about their passion, their purpose, and it all comes down to providing more financial freedom and control for Americans from 5 months old to grandparents' age and everywhere in between. I'm super excited for them to share your stories with you. Let me give you a little bit of background and color into this before we jump in. So, every year since 2018, when Brandon and I first became Bank and Yourself professionals, we've gotten together with other Bank and Yourself professionals. It's most of the time in the state of Michigan, which as an Ohio person, I'm always like, oh, I'm going to Michigan again. But I'm happy to go there despite, football rivalries or whatever to connect with these amazing people that we get to. Now, there was one year we didn't get to do it. Of course, you guessed it, COVID. But since then, it's been great to get back in and jump in. And I can't believe we never done this before. During one of the lunch breaks, Brandon pulled aside four other Bank and Yourself professionals, Ben, Sarry, Chris, and Ryan, Ben, Sarry, Chris, and Ryan, to have a conversation and share more about why they're Bank and Yourself professionals, what makes them so passionate, how they find their purpose here. Would someone even consider doing Bank and Yourself when there's so many haters out there of the concept and so forth? So I think you'll really enjoy hearing from these guys. One important thing to know is that no, not all of the Bank and Yourself professionals are men. You've got me. Some of the other amazing people are women as well. There's a good mix of both genders. It just so happens that Brandon grabbed four dudes to go have this conversation during one of the lunch breaks. So maybe us women were hanging out. I don't know what was happening. I didn't even know this happened until after the fact. So anyway, I'll stop my introduction. We'll share a little bit to welcome you to the podcast, and then we'll go into the conversation, and then I'll wrap us up at the end.
In a world where chaos seems to reign supreme, where uncertainty lurks around every corner, and financial markets are now more unpredictable than ever, there's one place you can turn to find clarity and control. Welcome to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast.
Hey, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Amanda.
Join us as we dive deep in the world of personal and business finance
to assist you in navigating through the chaos and building the financial future you deserve.
We believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you want to go,
you need wealth wisdom.
So if you're ready to take control of your financial destiny,
tune in to the Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast.
Because in a chaotic world, your money shouldn't be.
Subscribe now and never miss an episode.
Hey guys, welcome to Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast and Thinking Like a Bank podcast. And there's a lot of other people here. If you're on our lives, I need to stand back a little bit because it looks like I'm gaining weight or something here. So it's not just me here. When we do the infinite banking, banking yourself concept, people often think, oh yeah, it's Brandon knows everything or Amanda knows everything. And how come I never heard about this before? I don't know. Have you ever heard that? How come I've never heard about this before?
A few times.
And here's the thing. There are lots of us out there who are trying to help people build a solid foundation, a financial foundation that isn't just about risk or growth or all this. We want to build a good financial foundation to build your wealth, right? In all areas of life, not just financially, but in other areas, from family to faith, everything. So as you see, you can't see everybody. So let's scoot in a little bit so you guys can see. This is just a few of us. Sarry, I'm going to jump in like this. So Sarry has a podcast, and there's a lot of other guys who have lots of specialties. And so today, what I want to talk about is, as you guys hear this, some stories about why we are so passionate about this concept and the Bank on Yourself organization, and why we are passionate to help clients as they come into uncertain times, as they come into the chaos of the world. As you guys know, we do have that book, the 5 Smooth Stones, and it's moving from chaos to still, confusion, haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful. All these guys have stories, and today I'm not going to talk anymore, but I want to ask each one of them, why do they do Bank on Yourself, and why are they so passionate? Because honestly, as you guys know, we could go sell crypto or something else and make a whole, maybe not now, but a lot more money, right? But yet we do this, and we actually have to, if you do a policy, not only do you qualify or ask us questions, we have to actually qualify you, and there's so much more that goes into it. And honestly, if I could sell anything better that didn't require your blood to go forward, I would probably do it. However, this changes lives. So I want to hear from our esteemed guest here about what they have seen or why they are in the Bank on Yourself world. Why do they do this? So we'll start with, let's go with Sarry first. So Sarry, you have a podcast. Tell us a little bit about that and why you're passionate about this.
Yeah, so the podcast is called Thinking Like a Bank Podcast. And I mean, I'm passionate about this for a number of reasons. I'd say number one is probably I believe in this. I use this as a client myself, and it's something I could see my close friends and family doing as well. I endorse it, and I think that, it's like the saying goes, like, you would never want to sell something you would never want to use yourself. So because of that logic, I definitely use this. I believe in the system. It works. Also, I think as I was getting into the financial services industry, when I was learning about, mutual funds and index funds and stocks and things like that, and the idea that you could lose that money, it just didn't really make sense how, you work hard for this money, you invest it can go up, it can go down. No one really knows. Not even the best firms on Wall Street know, not even, no one really knows what's going to happen. So I think because of those things, that's what really attracted me to Bank on Yourself, and what's keeping me using Bank on Yourself and keeping me as a Bank on Yourself professional.
Keep going. Go to Ryan
Okay.
here.
Yeah, one of the big things for me was that most people in life, they just don't get their health right, and they don't get their finances right. And as I got into this concept, I was in a completely different industry, and I just found myself getting taught this from another financial professional, and it was just really outside the box and incredibly interesting. And it got me curious as to why more people don't do this. And really, one thing that I would add to this, one of the reasons that I think it is so important and I'm so passionate to teach people about this concept as a part of their overall comprehensive plan, is that most people just they follow the government rules and regulations, their programs, they rely on those. And that could be a bad business proposition in many cases, to be quite honest with you. Whether that's relying on pensions, which are going away, or government-made programs like 401ks and things of this nature. But also, I think people have relied on Wall Street for many years to have a fuzzy, fruitful retirement. And
How's that working out for a lot of people?
It's up for debate, to be quite honest. But if you put all of your marbles, so to speak, in government-made programs centered around Wall Street speculation and risk, you may not have as fuzzy of a retirement future as you may think, because there's a lot of things out of your control, as we know. And then moreover, the last thing is I just feel like as human beings, we just tend to do things that aren't in our best interest all the time anyways. Whether maybe you're a Christ follower and you say we have a sinful nature, or maybe you're an atheist and you just commit that everybody's just messed up in their own way. We all follow the herd like sheep in some way, shape, or form. And that can be very dangerous when it comes to your finances. And so when people say, well, how come I've never heard about this process before? I don't know anybody that's doing this. it doesn't mean that it's not out there. It's something that's been around for over 100 some years. But I think the three big reasons that attracted me is that most people do rely on government-made programs sitting around Wall Street speculation and risk, and we tend to just follow the herd like sheep. We all do things that aren't in our best interest, and so that's something I think worth getting out of bed for and teaching people about.
What do you also focus on? Something that you're passionate about isn't just like, of course, the bank of yourself concept, but you specialize in a certain area.
One of the specialties I've built my career on is the financial aid and admission system, the college planning process. I always tell people that college planning is a retirement issue. Mm-hmm. And, when you're talking about money, college planning is one of the biggest wealth transfers that people will face in their life. And just so your audience knows, like a wealth transfer is money that we would unknowingly or unnecessarily give away throughout the course of our lifetime. And because there's such a lack of transparency in the college planning process, it's been my mission to try to help people become better shoppers and invest properly for college so that they don't go into debt or have it back up into their retirement or back up and stunt their kids start to their life. And I think that that's a worthwhile venture and to help people do that. And it translates into full longevity planning for people. So college planning is a retirement issue. They're not mutually exclusive. So right. That's what I built a lot of my practice on.
I tell some of my clients, if you're helping your kid through college, but you haven't set up retirement, then you're going to be living on their couch or something else. Like that's
quite possibly
something that they need to like think about. It's not just, oh yeah, Betty Sue is now through college, but now we're
slave to the lender for the next 20 years.
That's right. So now Chris is, I would say, our kind of like grandpa, if you will, because as you guys know, you've seen Mark on the podcast. You've seen Mark Willis. He's been our kind of like father in the industry for us, Amanda and I. But as you don't know is he was mentored and helped by Chris and Grant all the way in Texas. And Chris is going to have a podcast, God willing, really soon. But he does not like to speak in front of people that much and this kind of thing. But he has a lot of wealth knowledge to share. And so we're putting him on the spot today to share why have you've been doing this probably longer than us. I know a few of us here, maybe longer than I've been alive. I don't know. Probably not. I'm just kidding.
You're 29.
Yeah, I am 27.
So you were in elementary school.
So. Yeah, right. So Chris, why do you do this, and why are you so passionate? Because you were in the AUM side, right? Am I right?
I've always been in the insurance industry.
All right. Yeah. And like Grant was on some area, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is like, why would you do this as opposed to, I don't know, sell IUL or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am hugely passionate about the banking yourself and infinite banking process, mainly because of the generational platform that it creates. Mm-hmm. You've got to be doing this. I think you've got to have a huge passion for your family, love your family.
Who here doesn't? If you're listening, put in the comments if you don't love your family.
That when you think, you've got to kind of think long-term, big picture. Think out there 10, 20, 30 years from now and the impact that you're going to make on your family by doing this.
Yeah.
Don't just think in the next 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years. Think out there long-term, what's going to be happening that you impacted your family with. And start those policies on you, your kids, your grandkids. I just started policies on my grandkids 5 months ago. And if we can start uninterrupted compounding on your monies when you're 5 months old, mm-hmm. that is huge, and never stop it growing.
So some people will listen and they'll say, yes, but I could do that. This uninterrupted compounding, it happens in my stock market portfolio.
No.
Why is that?
Your stock market can go up. Your stock market can go down.
It gets interrupted.
It gets interrupted when you go use it.
Yeah.
These policies, when you go use it for whatever you want to use it for, you use it for real estate, you use it for college, you use it for your cars, you use it for whatever you want to go, and that account continues to grow uninterrupted for the rest of your life. if you do it correctly. You can always withdraw and take that back down to nothing and start over if you wish, but we teach the loan process and how you use these policies for the rest of your life. Keep it growing, but keep the tax advantages on that money forever and leave a tax-free legacy at the end. When that happens, and it's going to happen to all of us, you know that your family's going to be taken care of. And the government's not going to get any of it. You're going to get to leave it all to the family. And then teach those kids and grandkids, once they get that inheritance, it's time to do it again.
Right? That's Nelson.
Start again.
Chris,
Yeah.
I had,
Go ahead.
well, I just
Ben.
wanted to piggyback a little bit. I
Good.
had a mentor who his phrase was be the one, like be the one that
Yeah.
your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids could look back and
back.
say, that was the one that changed our family tree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know?
that's cool.
And I think that's what this allows people to truly do,
Oh, gosh.
you know?
It's huge.
Yeah. So that type of long-term thinking, generational, 3 generations, 4 or 5 generations to be able to create a family bank, you know, that can.
And some of the wealthiest.
It's not just the money itself, but it's the education and how to
you're
use
teaching
it.
your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And some of
that
the
in
wealthiest
itself-
people we know have done that, right? Like
Yeah.
the Rockefeller family.
Right,
you know?
right.
Rothschild.
Walt Disney.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so many people. So
Yeah.
for
So-
me, yeah.
Yeah, I
what
want
were
to
you gonna say,
ask.
Brandon?
So Ben, why did you
Yeah.
get into this?
Yeah.
And in our world of it's all for me, it's all
Yeah.
about me, and
Right.
that's why our world is all like crazy, is because
Uh-huh.
we're short term thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I always tease my mother in law, who's a baby boomer, like, you guys all screwed us up. Like, how do we get out of this to realizing, like, as I built my policy, I didn't have a child. Now he's 6.
Yeah.
How do you think long range, but also think about present you as well?
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but just what you said about going from thinking about it's all about me to it's all about we. You know, we are such a individualistic society, but you can't live that way, and no person is an island,
Mhm.
right? So we all need each other. We're all connected in some way. And for me, growing up, I grew up in a minister's family, and I mean, we weren't at a mega church, and we weren't getting paid. My dad wasn't getting paid the big bucks. And I think finances was always a struggle in our family. And I think that was like, my parents got divorced, and I think finances was a big part of
Oh,
that,
gosh, yeah.
you know, and it's not just them. I think it's all across the country. People are struggling with their finances, and it ruins marriages. It breaks up families, and it's a contributing factor to like the deterioration of society. So what if we could reverse some of that? You know, what if we could bring this? So for me, it is very personal because, like, what if my parents had known about something like this, and they had more sanity, more control
And they
over their
taught you.
finances, and they
But-
taught us.
But from a person, you guys are all from faith, right?
Yeah.
And you should jump in too. We get in this.
Yeah, I
scene
don't
here.
wanna-
So Dave Ramsey will say, well, life insurance is the devil. Whole life insurance. Buy term, invest the rest. And probably church people are like, yes, but you can't do that because that's so not Christian. What would you say to somebody who maybe they are followers of God, or they want to change it? They don't care if you believe in God or not.
Right.
What
wanna say
would you
something
say
about that, Ryan?
about that to somebody?
About just his.
His philosophy, and how is this different? And how is this even more spiritual? Is this a spiritual event even?
Yeah, I think firstly, we have to recognize that Dave Ramsey has done quite a lot of good, you know, for a certain sect of people. But what we also have to realize is that Dave Ramsey is a guru, and a lot of his preferences lack nuance. And our lives financial lives they're not a one size fits all proposition. And that's the biggest issue that I would say to somebody, is that, you know, everybody has a different nuance, and to build a comprehensive, balanced plan, you have to have nuance. When you put everybody into a one size fits all box, and you have to preach a narrative that fits everybody into that box. And while his debt management and cash flow management teachings are awesome, But when you get out of that, that is where I have a little bit of a disconnect with that. And I think it's just because it's a guru mechanism, one size fits all, an unnuanced approach to things. And, God would tell us, you need to be a good steward of what I have. Right. And in order to be a good steward, you have to open your mind up to all different types of opportunities to steward that dollar and be nuanced. Right. Perhaps whole life insurance would be an amazing way to leave a legacy to a church, or some kind
We've
of.
done that before.
Exactly. Or I know somebody in my church personally years ago that actually took a policy loan to help with an enormous capital campaign that otherwise wouldn't have been funded. But because he had the capital, he was able to do that, things of that nature. So.
Go ahead.
Well, what I would say to that person would just be to tell a story, just like tell our own story. And I think to me, that's where I learned the most about God, is through experience. And so like our experience was that like 10 years ago, we took a step back. Like, is our money doing for us what we want it to do? And also having some serious questions about like the ethical side of investing with certain companies. Like, are these companies doing good things in the world? Maybe they're making money, but are they doing good things? So just asking those questions and then taking a step back and saying, what do we want our money to do for us? Let's make a list.
Yeah.
Let's pray about this. When we made our list, we just laughed at it. We're like, nothing can do this. Like this is our wish list, but nothing can actually do it.
Yeah.
And then God brought Mark Willis into our lives. And he was telling us about the bank on yourself strategy, and it blew our minds. It was like, wow, it does all these things and some other things that we hadn't even thought of. And so we began to implement this strategy, and it just changed the financial landscape of our lives. So,
I think that's key though, like what you said, there's so many people that say, why didn't everybody do this? Why hadn't everybody done it? Why haven't, and I'm like, a lot of times though is you took the step.
Yeah.
You did it.
Right.
You started. So many people just keep coming around and coming back, and they've never started because they can't make a decision and move forward. Just make a decision and move forward and go, and get started with it. And it'll make a huge impact on your life.
And regarding the concept of faith, I think it's important. Faith is trust based on evidence, right? And I think that there's an amazing amount of evidence that adding like a bank on yourself type of plan to your finances has worked for like thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So if nothing else, I would just say, open your mind to the evidence, review the evidence, use the rational mind God gave you and say, where does that evidence lead you?
Yeah.
Don't come with a biased, closed-minded approch.
Yeah,
Gosh, it's such a peaceful way to live. In my life, it just makes it so peaceful.
Yeah. I think that for life insurance in itself is to protect widows and orphans. That is what it was there for and why it was designed initially. For the death benefit. Now there's access and use of the cash that I think is really important. And a lot of companies have learned how to take it away from us, and like banks, and say, I can give you this, but there's no cost to it. Or we think, oh, well, it's convenient, right? We were just talking about the rise in Uber Eats and the cost of convenience. And we just did an episode on this recently on the cost of convenience in banking. And here's the thing I think about with what we do. As you guys know, we have the book, 5 Smooth Stones, and it's a lot about thinking, a lot about understanding. We're not going to be the guru. We might be an expert, kind of like a pastor is, or a leader of a church. They might spend more time with God or something, maybe. I don't know. But they kind of stepped in a few years ahead. That's one of the reasons I love about this group is, hey, there's a few people who have done it a little bit ahead of me. And we say, this works. I want to tell everybody about it. That's why this helped us, is we're like, I need to tell everybody because this changed my life. And learning that I still don't just say, hey, Mark, do all the stuff for me. But we have to think about it for ourselves, just like a pastor. You don't just say, oh, well, you have your relationship to God, and I'll just
Watch.
watch you, and then it'll be great.
Yeah.
And I do think in a world of a Christian world, there's a lot of watchers, spectators, people saying, well, I'll just wait until this. And this is the thing I want you guys to know. There's a lot of people here who do this because of passion, because we want to change lives. And we think 4, 3, 2 generations. I mean, I think about my son. He wasn't even born when we started our policies. This guy is going to get really, he's going to be well off. But it's up to me to teach him how to think and how to embody that. The policies are just mechanisms. They're just tools. But it's up to us and you guys to say, okay, I could use this for evil or I could use it for good. We could do that. And so thinking about that, having guides here that know and have been told, oh yeah, well that's of Satan or that's of this, and you're like, really, where? And I think that's crazy, but really we just want to help people. Again, like as one of the founders of called the Vineyard said, I'm just one beggar showing another beggar where to find bread, and that's kind of what we do in this industry of life insurance of all things. And I'm really glad that you guys are here. We want to change the world. That's why we're all here. There's not very many of us. And I think that's interesting in the faith world too. There's not that many. There's a lot of couch potato people that just sit and complain, but we have to actually go there. The world is not going to change by us just saying, oh, this president's going to do it or that. We have to be in there. Any closing thoughts? I know I rambled here, but closing thoughts that you would say, or you want to do a mic drop, and don't mic drop this. I don't want to buy another one.
Okay, well, I'll just say a word about one of my first clients got to be my mom. So I shared that, my parents had financial troubles with, when I was growing up, and to be able to come in to learn about this, the strategy, and then to help my mom in retirement to be able to have $14,000 more per year in her retirement.
That's huge.
That was an amazing feeling to say, Mom, I want to work with you on this, and look what we're going to be able to do for you. That's one of the most moving things. So, just sometimes starting with our own families, right?
Yeah.
That's been a really special thing for me. How about you, Sarry, or anybody?
Go ahead. Yeah, definitely. I think the idea of taking control of your financial future, right? Not just relying on the government, not just relying on your job, not just relying on the next president. I think definitely taking control of your financial future using a strategy that's been around for over 150 years. And that not only that, but that's also backed by logic that's been around for thousands of years, right? So for thousands of years, people have been pooling money together, taking care of each other. So I think we should continue those same concepts moving forward, despite what, Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman or Wall Street says. Look at the logic, look at the facts, look at the numbers, not just the opinions online, not just how people think or initially feel about something, but really what's behind it and what's really working. And more importantly, what's the top 1% doing, right? What the top 1% is doing, what they're doing is different from the rest of the 99% of people. So that's my closing thoughts.
Yeah. I would agree wholeheartedly with what you guys all said. I would just say, if you're someone out there that's resonating with this, to take action. If you're somebody out there that is resonating with the idea of maybe wanting to go tell people about this, I would just say, it's good for us to remember that, we all have to do something. We have to put our energy somewhere in life. And one of the cool things about this and teaching people about finances or the bank on yourself concept is that, we're dealing with human beings, and a human being is an eternal endeavor. It's not a temporal thing. And so it is really worth the fight. It's worth the getting up and the working hard. Opportunities in life look like hard work, no matter what you're going to do. Anything that's worth doing in life is not going to be easy. And so you might hear some passion in our voices, and that's the reason why. I mean, it's because we're trying to help people with their money. And I don't think in the Bible, for example, I don't think there's too many other things and that's mentioned more than money. as the number one competitor for our heart. And somebody mentioned that, a lot of divorces are centered around, most all divorces are centered around the concept of money. So there's more going on than just talking about a life insurance policy. Like, there is more at stake with this.
Yeah.
And so that would be kind of my drop, my mic drop. How about that?
Any closing thoughts there, Chris?
No, I think, like we said earlier, I think you just need to start, move forward, make a decision to go and start your plans. So many people just always kind of think and think and think and just never get started. And I don't know how many people have come through our office multiple times and said, I wish I'd done this 10 years ago. I wish I'd have done it 15 years ago. So start, get going and get going now with whatever you can. And then you can always start more.
Yep.
Amen.
So I want to end with this and really thank you guys for watching. Again, you're in control of your own financial destiny. Right. If you're listening to his podcast, Thinking Like a Bank, totally subscribe to our channel as well, Wealth Wisdom Financial. Share this, right? I mean, the way I thought about this, I just did had somebody come in and talk about the business. And I said, well, what happens if people don't work with us? I said, well, divorces are going to happen. Suicide might happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of brokenness, alcoholism might happen. All of this, and people are like, oh, well, isn't that extreme? I'm like, well, because of the money and because we don't know how to be still and think about these kind of concepts, we end up in chaos. And again, the world is in chaos. There is taxes, there's all of this, and we have to. This is why we are all passionate about this. Is the world needs us to, our kids need us to, and we don't get any second chances at this kind of thing. And I'm like, we got to do this and step up to it. And if I don't, who is gonna do that? And that's why I have passion for it. Whether people say, well, yeah, but the numbers, this and that. I'm like, really, I might, and I think about this a lot. Here's the reality. We may never see the outcome of what happens, right? Because it's that choose your own adventure. I don't know that they come and work with me and they ended up starting a policy, or there could have been that other page that they chose and they ended up in bankruptcy. I don't know, but I know I can help them, and that's what we all do. So thank you guys for being a part of
Thank you,
Betting
Brandon.
Yourself, and for being a part of this podcast live. Hopefully it all came out good. We will have it released sometime. I'm going to send it to editors. So thanks for joining. Don't forget, subscribe if you want to hear more of this, or maybe next year we'll set up a thing here and we'll do a bunch of them. I don't know. So if you want to hear more, put it in the comments, because people are watching as well who are a part of it that maybe can influence even more things. So with that, thanks. And
Thanks, Brandon.
Okay, wasn't that fun? Great to see those guys kind of banter a little bit and have some fun with each other. The most important thing you can do right now is take action. Schedule a call with Brandon or me if you connected really well to Ben, Ryan, Sarry, or Chris, then we would be happy to pass you along to them. The most important thing, whatever Bank and Yourself professional you're working with, it makes all the difference in the world, especially what they underlined with, we're not here just to sell you a product, but to better your financial future and help you have better conversations around money, avoid divorce or bankruptcy, have some positive things for your financial future, like $14,000 more per year in retirement or whatever that looks like for you. So you can schedule with Brandon or me. We're going to tell you how to do that in just a second. And if you really want to connect with one of those other four guys, just put in the notes when you schedule that you'd like that introduction, and we'll be happy to pass that on. And again, their names were Ryan. He's also here in Ohio. Chris, that's down in Texas. Sarry in Chicago, and Ben in Arkansas, or as we like to say, Arkansas, around here. Here's how you get that, take that step and get that call scheduled right now.
Ready to take the next step towards securing your financial future? Whether you're planning for retirement, saving for your dream home, or you just want to make your money work harder for you, the team at Wealth Wisdom Financial are ready to assist you. And now it's easier than ever to see how we might give you a boost on your financial journey.
Schedule a 15-minute discovery call with one of us today.
And let's discuss your questions and your financial goals together.
Don't wait any longer. Your financial freedom awaits. Schedule your discovery call at www.wealthwisdomfp.com/call.
Okay, that's it for today. We look forward to seeing you on future episodes of the podcast. We have some fun this summer still coming with you. One of the things I'm looking forward to is introducing you to one of the newest Bank and Yourself professionals here soon. Could be the next episode or maybe a couple from now. But be sure you hit subscribe and the bell so you don't miss an episode. In the meantime, as always, may you live long and profit. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice from us or from any of the guys that we interviewed. On such matters, please consult a professional who knows your specific situation.